Hello, this is Timothy Burns, and in my presentation I chose to do this on chatbot security. A few of the things that I'm going to be going over is kind of just a high-level overview of what chatbots are, some of the things that chatbots are being used for in today's technology, and some of the risks that are associated with using them. I know a lot of us probably already know what chatbots are, but just to kind of get a definition of what it is an artificial intelligence program that simulates interactive human conversation by using key pre-calculated user phrases and auditory or text-based signals. Chatbots are frequently used for basic customer service and marketing systems that frequent social networking hubs and instant messaging clients, and they are often included in operating systems as intelligent virtual assistants. So now that we got a definition of what a chatbot is, some of the use cases that we often see, some of the few popular ones, OK Google, Siri, Alexa. There's an article that was written on some of the top use cases that were found. Some of those include e-commerce and online marketing, customer service, travel and tourism, banking, the financial sector, HR and recruiting, and assistants, again, such as Google and Siri. Some of the areas that popped out to me were the banking and the financial institutions. Some of those, a lot of the businesses going towards an online, so we may not see as much, some of the brick and mortar stores where you physically walk into. There's a lot of times when someone doesn't have to necessarily, many people don't have to go use a bank. Everything is done online. Also, healthcare industry. Doctors can, do a lot of things online. Patients can go to maybe a site and get, bots can be used to get initial information that can then be passed on to the doctor. So some of the reasons of why businesses are using chatbots, number one reason is money. It's estimated that chatbots can save over $8 million for businesses. And along those lines, all businesses can even afford to man a service line 24/7. So they can use chatbots to kind of help catch customers that come to their site. In addition to maybe helping with call volume, businesses may be able to man a service line, but they may have certain times when they're getting more requests than the amount of people that can handle them. So chatbots can kind of be used to kind of help fill that gap. Also, with repetition, there's a lot of times when customers may come to a site where a company can see that a certain question or a few questions are constantly being asked. So bots can be put in place to kind of help with that, and not only to help with the volume, but also quickly help the customer. So this is a graph that I found that kind of where you can easily see the use of bots per industry. And as you can see, just overall, chatbots are being used and forecasted to continue to be used on up until the future. So now that we kind of went over what chatbots are, some of the use cases, now we're going to look at some of the risks. And the four areas that I'm going to be covering is personal data, man-in-the-middle attacks, software vulnerabilities, and social media manipulation. So personal data, one of the biggest questions we need to ask is what is happening to the data that we are providing. Depending on the situation and the website or the company that we're going to, we need to, we can end up providing quite a bit of data, and we really need to ask what they are doing with our personal data, and two, how they're securing it. I mean, if you think about with like Google and Siri, and what they have access to, such as calendars, text messages, and emails. That's quite a bit of our personal life, and we all may not have a good idea of what goes on behind the scenes. In addition to what comes next is who has access to the data. A lot of in the healthcare industry, for instance, you have HIPAA with regulations of what happens to your medical records. With chatbots, depending on the situation, they may not have those regulations that protect you. So, an engineer that is working on the software, a chatbot, may need to look at that data to maybe make some tweaks, but we don't necessarily know that that's actually happening. So it's just another question that we need to keep in mind. So man-in-the-middle attacks, again, just like websites, hackers are going to try to get in between the legitimate site and the user. And this is going to put everything that you're putting out there at risk. If you think about some of the use cases with banking and healthcare, there's a lot of data that we're providing to the company via, you might be actually talking about, some of these bots that are being used. There's a lot of information that we're providing. And if a hacker is able to get themselves in the middle of that, then they pretty much have the keys to whatever information that you're providing. Vulnerabilities, again, chatbots are no different. They're a piece of software that are susceptible to weaknesses just like anything else. Hackers can create malicious code, maybe some kind of injections, or try to overload the software to gain access. Another area that I was able to find out that chatbots can try to be used to hack other chatbots, similar to how hackers can try to socially engage with users and try to get more information. Chatbots can be configured to try to go to other sites with publicly information about individuals and try to get more information about that individual. Social media manipulation. This is kind of a key factor, with social media such as Twitter and Facebook. They can be used by organizations to kind of help push, whatever agenda, could be good, could be bad, that they're trying to, push forward. They can be used to be triggered by a keyword, post comments, and even interact with other users. And one of the high level, or the things I was able to find out was the 2016 presidential election. Research was performed to see how and if the election was impacted by bots. And from their research, they were able to find that an estimated 400 bots were engaged in the political discussion about the election and were responsible for roughly 3.8 million tweets. So the research was able to show that there was an impact made by using the automated counts in the election. It was hard for them to identify how much, though. They relayed that the information that they gathered was there was at least some influence, and they definitely played a role in increasing the amount of misinformation, so false information. And another question that comes to mind is who is behind these accounts. One would think that it's one side or the other that have these bots out, pushing their narrative, and it wasn't actually part of their research. But they weren't able to determine who actually these accounts belong to. So it could have been either party, but also someone from a different country, trying to manipulate one side or the other. So we were able to look at some of the risks, but actually was able to find a few security incidents that happened. Sears and Ticketmaster both has had incidents happen in 2017, where Sears, they had chatbots that were affected which impacted roughly 100,000 customers. In addition to Ticketmaster, they had a chatbot that was affected that impacted roughly around 11.5 million customers along with their credit card data. So just a couple of facts that shows that chatbots can be manipulated, and they're not they do have weaknesses. So just quickly, kind of going over like what you can do to protect against these risks. One is end-to-end encryption. Just like with when you go to websites, you want your data and what you're providing to be encrypted. Multi-factor authentication to make sure that who you're dealing with in addition to like the actual person, so that they can verify that they are actually the person that they are. And along with just simple patching the software to make sure that the known vulnerabilities are no longer there. So that was just a brief little overview of chatbots and how they're being used, along with the risks that are involved, and briefly how you can protect against them. I appreciate your time. Let me know if there is any questions. And here is the references that I used for this presentation. Thank you.